So my number 3 is, what if Tony Romo held the kick during the 2006 NFC wildcard game? So this is the famous Romo, fumbled snap play. But to set the scene, this was Romo's first year as a full-time starter. He takes over for Drew Bledsoe. Cowboys are 9-7. They go to Seattle to play the NFC West champions. Dallas is up 20-15, but Seattle comes back and they score to make it 21-20. So it's a one-score game. They fail on the 2-point conversion. Dallas and Tony Romo get the ball back. They lead a good drive. They get down to inside the 10, or around outside the 10 on the 11. So it's important that they were at the 11 and not the 10. So it wasn't first and goal. It was first and 10. So they go run to try to kill off the clock. They get the ball on 3rd and 7, and Romo hits Witten for what looks like a first down, but upon review is called just short, and it's about 4th and inches with 1:20 to go. So it's a pretty easy call. Seattle is out of timeouts. Dallas kicks the field goal, plays a little defense, and wins the game. So Bill Parcells sends out the kicking unit, and unfortunately, Tony Romo fumbles the snap, tries to run for either the first down or the touchdown, and gets tackled short of both lines. And then Seattle gets the ball back. They almost run out the clock, and basically, it's the end of the game. So this is a huge disappointment for the Cowboys, of course, because they were literally a kick away from winning the game. I think a 19-yard field goal away from winning the game. And what this does for Romo is it kind of establishes him, unfortunately for him, early on as a playoff choker. And he kind of gets that label. It comes back to haunt him a few other times. So my what if is, what if Tony Romo holds the ball, Dallas kicks that field goal, wins the game? How does that change the rest of Tony Romo's career? So any thoughts on that?
This is interesting. Yeah, this is the 2006 season, right?
Yeah, his first year as a starter.
Yeah. I forgot about this, to be honest with you. I know that when Bill Parcells came in, they started to develop Tony Romo. I think that he brought in like a couple of guys that played for him, like Vinny Testaverde, and I think Romo ended up coming out of the pack eventually. So yeah, keep going. This is interesting.
Yeah, and on that note, they almost traded Romo to the Saints when Sean Payton went there. I guess he saw his potential, but I believe Payton wouldn't offer us more than a 3rd round pick, and Dallas wanted a 2nd for Romo. So obviously they saw some potential there too, but they probably thought they were good with Drew Bledsoe. But basically, so if Dallas wins that game, they would have had to go on the road to play a really good Bears team, a 13-3 Bears team that had a top 5 offense and defense, but they did have Rex Grossman as their quarterback. So it's very possible that they beat the Bears. They go to the NFC title game against the Saints. They get an offensive shootout, and then who knows what would have happened. But I think the bigger what if is just Romo getting that label and having the weight of that disappointment on such a routine play. I think that really weighed down his career, and that was the monkey on his back, so to speak. So yeah, I think if they win that game, even if they get smacked the following week against Chicago, I think the rest of his career goes very differently. They probably don't have that disappointing loss the following year to the Giants, and a number of other, playoff disappointments.
Yeah, and I think that he shakes that, then things change tremendously. It gives them confidence. They have better runs in the postseason. And that one against the Bears, that was that Bears team that had that sloppy game in the rain, that Super Bowl game against the Colts, right?
Yeah, I mean, they were manhandled basically by the Colts. They couldn't score to keep up with them, but it was a great Bears team. I mean, they had Hall of Famers at every level on that defense, or Hall of Fame level players. So it's not necessarily that the Cowboys would have won the Super Bowl that year, but I think it changes the next, 5 years or so. of his career. It just doesn't weigh him down like that.
I think it was Parcells' best shot too. I think while he was there, I'd be remiss in not saying his nickname, the Big Tuna. I love it. It's a tremendous nickname for a coach. Did you know that? He's
Big Tuna. He's one of the all-time like personalities. And I mean, he leaves the Cowboys after that year, and they hire Wade Phillips as the head coach. So maybe if they win that game, Parcells sticks around for a couple more years. He was already at the end of his career by then, but just a really sad moment for a young quarterback that didn't deserve it. I mean, do you put any blame on Parcells for keeping him as the holder, even though he was the starting quarterback?
Yeah, it's you really don't see that very often. I think you can. Bill Parcells was a risk taker, and there was questions after this game if the game had passed him by. And this was probably the last Cowboys head coach that everyone probably thinks Jerry Jones didn't have as much say over, because after this, it's believed that a lot of the people that have coached the Cowboys have kind of just been there to take orders from Jerry. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes. Okay. You're always right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, he has a propensity for hiring yes men. But yeah, that was sad. I like Tony Romo. It's a good dude. So, I wish that went differently